CTV's senior political correspondent Michael Couteur has more on the state of the trade talks from the U.S. ambassador to Canada. Mike.
Ambassador, thank you so much for being here. Really appreciate it.
It's good to be here. Thanks for the invite.
So what are you hearing about the state of negotiations between Canada and the U.S. right now?
It's going to take a while to work through it. There's a lot of issues that are still on the table. And, you know, I think the next few weeks are going to kind of be slow. But, you know, the president's got some other priorities. They want to get a deal done with China. And so, but, you know, as soon as there's, you know, offers on the table, ready to move forward, you know, we'll want to get to a deal.
So you're saying Canada's not a priority right now?
The president has, you know, has talked about wanting to get to China. Sure, Canada's a priority, but I mean, there's a whole lot of countries that are priorities. But right now, you know, I think the opportunity area right now is to do something potentially with China.
I want to talk about that timeline. You said a number of weeks. Are we thinking month? 2 months? Like, how much should Canadian businesses really be looking at right now as an outside or even an inside time? They're looking for time frames. They want to know how soon this can get going and how soon this can be rectified. If you had to give an idea, because you just said a number of weeks might be quiet, are we looking at months?
I'm not going to speculate on this. I mean, this is an agreement that could come together very, very quickly, or it could stretch out, because there are, I think, even as the Prime Minister said, these are complex negotiations, and sometimes, you know, these things come together, the puzzle pieces fit together very quickly, and other times you're just kind of looking at it, and yeah, how do I put this all together, and it takes longer. I think, you know, most of us would like to get to an agreement as soon as possible.
Are we at that stage where we're still looking at puzzle pieces and trying to figure out how they fit together, or is there a path and we just have to actually get them together?
I think you're still looking at some puzzle pieces, yes, and how they fit together.
What are those puzzle pieces that they still need to try and figure out how they get together?
Again, that's for the exact, I mean, you got to look at, you know, what is the base level of tariffs? How are you going to handle USMCA? We're on different, you know, we're on a different page on USMCA. The U.S. has held USMCA kind of sacrosanct. Okay, we have not put any tariffs on USMCA goods or services. Why? Because that, you know, the end result is that the effective tariff rate on all goods and services going across from Canada to the U.S., it's only at like 5%. Okay.
Well, 85 are not touched by it. That's what the Prime Minister said today, that 85% of the trade between Canada and the U.S.
Yeah. And other people have said different numbers, but you know, it's somewhere, yeah, it's somewhere north of 85%. Okay. So the effective rate of, you know, some stuff at 35% and those types of things, but the effective rate on all of that comes down to about 5% on all goods and services. Obviously, steel, aluminum, they're at a higher rate and those types of things. But, you know, Canada has tariffed USMCA products. Tariff has banned certain USMCA products from even coming into the country. You know, but we're holding firm and saying, you know, we've got USMCA, and, you know, we're not messing with that right now.
So you're saying that Canada's not respecting that agreement, that trade agreement?
Well, I think they'd be the first ones to admit that. I mean, there's, you know, it's not respecting. I'm saying that they have tariffed USMCA products, all right? Mm-hmm. They have banned certain USMCA products from coming into the country. You can describe it how you want. I'm just stating the facts, those are the facts.
On Sunday on CBS, you had U.S. Trade Representative Jameson Greer single out Canada and China as seeing these tariffs not moving and actually increasing because they retaliated. Does that mean that the U.S. did not expect Canada to retaliate in the way that it did?
I think Canada has, again, your government officials, not us, your government officials have said, you know, other than China, we've been the toughest against the United States in terms of retaliatory tariffs. So you have put yourselves, Canadian government officials have put yourselves in the bucket with China. That's not where we put you, but that's how Canadian officials have described themselves.
But did the U.S. not expect retaliation? Did they expect Canada to just take the tariffs and not do anything about it?
Well, I mean, as we've taken a look at the people who had agreements with us, okay, the EU, the UK, Japan, South Korea. You know, you go through these countries, and one of the reasons that, you know, the window of 90 days was created for Mexico was why? The president said it on Friday. We're giving a 90-day exemption or window for Mexico because Mexico has removed all of its retaliatory tariffs during this time frame as we continue negotiations.
The Prime Minister this afternoon did mention that he's open to the possibility of removing some of those retaliatory tariffs if it benefits the Canadian economy. So it's still unclear what exactly he means or which ones. Do you think that we could see movement in these negotiations if Canada did remove some of those counter tariffs on the U.S.?
I think it's a whole package of agreements, okay, or at least indications. But, you know, what we've seen is we really haven't seen any movement at all on the retaliatory steps, okay? Whether it's USMCA, whether it's the banning of products, whether it is Canadian government officials, you know, calling for Canadians not to travel to the United States, you know, some fairly nasty comments about our president. You know, that, again, those are the things that are under Canadians' control. You know, what I'm glad is that I was in BC a week and a half ago, and I visited some of the tourist spots there, and I asked, hey, what's American tourism like? And they said, man, it's as good, if not better, than last year. It's like, great. That shows the strength and the friendship between America and Canada. Americans are not taking those retaliatory steps towards Canada. But again, if Canadians want to do that, that's their choice.
But again, I ask you, did you expect Canadians not to do that? Did you expect Canadians to go on as business as usual when there is a trade war between these two countries?
It's not a trade war, okay? The president made clear that we were going to reset the trade agreement with countries around the world because the president was focused very, very narrowly on, I want to create prosperity for the American people. I want to create stability, safety, and security. So we need to redo tariffs. We did that with everybody in the world. I want to close our southern border, secure our border. We want to secure, you know, the northern border. We want to work with Canada on securing the northern border. We passed the big tax bill that we think will incentivize our economy to bring back manufacturing, but also to grow our economy and strengthen America. A strong America is good for Canada.
But at the
a
same
strong Canada is good for America.
But you don't think that the tariffs on Canadian products and Canadian industries are weakening Canada and making it so that it is more difficult to have a strong partnership? You even look at the automotive industry. We've heard a lot of complaints that they're so intertwined that if you're trying to bring jobs to the U.S., which I know the U.S. president has said that is one of the goals, setting up manufacturing there, but if that comes at weakening Canada, does that not hurt the U.S. as well?
Let's see once where we end up. I'm optimistic about where we're going to end up. Kevin Besant said, last week, that some of the concerns about these interim tariffs on steel and aluminum, right? What did he say? We're going to take a look at those because they're having a negative impact on what is a key strength for North America, and that is the automobile industry and the integration. You make a part in Windsor in the morning, and there's a good chance it might be on a part or on a vehicle leaving an assembly line going to a dealership or a customer in the afternoon. We recognize the strength, and he indicated that he was willing to take a look at, how do we make sure that we don't hurt the automobile industry in North America as we move forward.
One last question for you, because I know we're running short on time, but there was a fact sheet that came out from the White House talking about the failure of Canada to address the opioid crisis, despite the fact that Canada has put in a number of measures, spent well over $1.3 billion to bolster border security. There's a number of things that Canada has done to try and stop the flow of fentanyl, and there are numbers that show that it is not nearly as big of a problem at the northern border as at the southern border. Canada also got rid of the digital sales tax, services tax, and addressed the issue of NATO spending. Canada has made moves. They have made concessions. Why does it seem like the U.S. has not?
Has not what, made concessions?
Made concessions. When Canada has removed the digital services tax, it seemed like there was nothing that was coming from the U.S. side other than restarting negotiations. When it came to NATO spending, it would seem like we were still in the same tariff position. Why does it seem, if ordinary Canadians are sitting back and it looks like Canada's making all the moves and the U.S. isn't?
Listen to your lead trade negotiator, Kirsten Hillman. You're very, very knowledgeable and very, very smart negotiator, all right? What did she say? Canada right now is in a very enviable position from other countries around the world. Our effective tariff rate is around 5%. You're not going to find another country in the world that comes close. So don't listen to the American ambassador in terms of what concessions we've made. Listen to your own negotiators and talking and you know, taking credit in a positive way about where they are right now. Canada's in a good position. Yeah, are there, you know, I mean, the UK is paying 10%. The EU is paying 15%. All right, and you go to Japan and South Korea and some of these other countries, they're all paying double-digit tariffs. Canada's effective rate is 5%. That's pretty good, and that's a huge concession. I'm actually a little surprised by that.
But even to your own admission, not when you consider steel and aluminum.
No, steel and aluminum is in there. North of 85% of the stuff coming across the border is tariff-free. Mm-hmm. So if you put 50% on some of the other stuff, okay, 50% on, you know, 7 or 10%, okay, you know, you still come out at an effective rate at 5% right now, today. And again, those are numbers that come from Canadians, not from the U.S. government, not from the U.S. ambassador. We want a strong partnership, and we're going to get through these negotiations. And I think when we are done, we're going to have a good agreement that continues the trading relationship and makes both countries stronger.
U.S. Ambassador to Canada, Pete Hoekstra, I appreciate you for taking all this time and being with us today.
Hey, great. Thank you.